And I just want to say that playing Medieval 2 Total War has been an absolutely, I don't want to say life-changing experience because it's a video game, but it has definitely made me appreciate it. It has brought me back to the appreciation that I had for games when I got my first N64. I'll just put it that way. When I got my first serious console was when I got my first N64 back in the, what was it, year 2000 or something? I don't remember when I got my N64. It was like late 1990s, I want to say. And I had this huge joy playing video games, playing Banjo, Tooie, and Super Smash Brothers and all that stuff. And I don't want to say I got bored with console games, but I came to the point within recent years where I just stopped playing video games for prolonged periods of time. So instead of playing for 2 hours, I would play for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour tops. I wouldn't really go beyond that. Sometimes I would, but that was pretty rare. So that's been my gaming experience within recent years. Well, that was my gaming experience within recent years, but I started playing Medieval 2 Total War, and the game is the game was made in 2006, for crying out loud. You would think that a game made in 2006, is not exciting for today's time because, it's an older game and we're so used to playing really amazing AAA games. So why in the hell would we want to go back playing some game made in 2006? Well, that is, let me tell you, that is a mistake to think that way, because I started playing Total War, Medieval 2, and I can't stop playing this game. It's just an amazing game. I'll do all my work with Medieval 2 in my mind, thinking, I really want to finish my work so I can go and play Medieval 2. That's how good this game is. This game is so damn good, guys. And playing this game and enjoying it. Because, listen, I played Elden Ring. And I would play Elden Ring and think, oh my god, this game is boring. When is it going to end? Right? The music is wonderful. I love the music in Elden Ring. I love the aesthetics. I love the visuals for Elden Ring. But I would play Elden Ring for 30 minutes. And that was enough for me, because what are you doing most of the time playing Elden Ring? You're just walking around, going to the little sites of grace, fighting a boss, and you die 20 times, and you don't know how to fight it's just crazy. It's an exhausting game. And so, I played the Resident Evil 4 remake. That was an amazing game. I loved that game. The Resident Evil 2 remake, Resident Evil 3 remake, Resident Evil Revelations 1 and 2. Great games. But even when I was playing those games, I did not have the same level of excitement that I had when I first started playing games, when I got my N64, and also when I got my GameCube. When I started playing Total War Medieval 2, it was like a piece of my childhood got revived. And that same feeling that I had when I played Banjo-Tooie, it just came back. The game is so good in the sense that you are creating your own empire in the Middle East, North Africa, and in Europe. And it's not like a typical game where you follow a story. You make your own story, which is how RPGs are. The reason why, see, for years, I never understood, and even when I was playing games, when I had the GameCube, even when I was playing games with my GameCube back in the early 2000s, I saw World of Warcraft and I saw these RPG games, and I just thought those games are so silly. It's just they're silly games. I want to play a game that has a story. I want to play a game that has really good graphics. I want to play a game that has great voice acting. That was, to me, the marks of good games, and not just the marks of good games, but that was, to me, the prerequisite for a good game. The game had to look good. If the game didn't look good, I wouldn't be interested in it. So I would see games like World of Warcraft, and then I would compare that to Metroid Prime, and I would think, okay, Metroid Prime is obviously a superior game to World of Warcraft, because Metroid Prime, at its time, was considered to be the most advanced game when it came to visuals. It was visually considered to be the best game made at its time. And I remember Metroid Prime getting an award at the E3 Awards for the best graphics. That's how good the graphics were in Metroid Prime at its time. So, until recently, I had always just I just didn't understand why people played RPGs or MMOs. Why did people play RuneScape? Or why did people play WoW? Or why did people play any one of these RPG type games, MMORPG type games? Until, I had thought that way, going all the way back to the days when I started playing in the N64, and really going back to the days when I started playing GameCube. That's how long I had that opinion. And I held on to that opinion until last week. Last week, I got my hands on Medieval 2 Total War. And I thought, okay, this is going to be an RPG. You know, it was made back in 2006, so I bought it. You know, I bought it on the Apple Store because I have an app. I have a Mac. I bought it on the Apple Store for $20. And I think that's the only way I could ever play this game on a Mac, is to buy it on the App Store or buy it on Steam. But anyway, I got it on the App Store, on the Mac Apple Store. And I started playing it at like 4 in the morning. And I thought, I'll play this game for an hour and then turn it off, because I didn't think it would be anything special. Until I started taking territory. Until I started making negotiations with my neighbor cities and got them to be my allies. Until I started making deals with the popes. And then I started making trade deals with the Ottoman Empire and the Moors. And I'm thinking, wait a second. You're meeting to... Because like, you look at these other games, right? I don't know, pick a game. Resident Evil, right? Resident Evil is probably my favorite video game universe. I love Resident Evil. But Resident Evil, every Resident Evil game is a story, right? It's a linear story, and you go through the story. It's like watching a movie, and you are a participant in the movie. That's what a Resident Evil game is. And that's what most games are. They're just basically animated movies that you are a partaker in. So you put on Resident Evil, you play Leon Kennedy, you go through the village, you kill the villagers, you go from the village to the castle, from the castle you go to the island, you take the president's daughter out there, and you're done. That's Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 2, you go, what's Resident Evil 2? Resident Evil 2 is what? You start out in a city. What was it? Raccoon City. You meet up with Leon. It's a story. You're following the story, right? You like the story. You think the story is cool. With an RPG game, you are the director of the movie. You are the director of the film. So instead of you being dictated by a story, you are the director of the movie. You're writing the script. So the movie in Medieval 2 Total War is the rise of an empire. Well, how do you make that empire rise? You make the decisions. You have a budget. You have to manage the budget. So you're a treasurer. You're in charge of the accounting for the empire. Well, you want to make your army really big. Okay, so you start making your army big. Well, you got to pay the soldiers. Well, okay, you start paying the soldiers. Well, what happens when your army gets so big that you're spending more money than you're making? Well, now you're beyond your means. Now you're in a deficit, right? You're not in a financial surplus. You're in a financial deficit. You're losing money. So you're kind of stuck. You're just paying these soldiers, and you're spending more than what you're making. So you can't expand your empire. If you can't expand financially, you can't expand militarily. So what do you got to do? You got to lay off a bunch of soldiers. So you lay off a bunch of soldiers. You bring yourself back within budget, and then you start doing things to expand your budget. Well, what do? You make trade deals with your neighbors. You make trade deals with other countries. You make trade deals with the Mongolians, with the Egyptians, with the Turks. You're making trade deals with the Milans, the Milanese, with the Sicilians and the Byzantines, and with the English and the French. And well, what happens? Well, you want to make an alliance with them, so you make an alliance with the French. Well, it turns out that the French don't like the English very well. And the French heard that you made an alliance with the English, and they're mad at you. So now you lose your alliance with the French, and then you strengthen your alliance with the English. You make an alliance with the Hungarians. Well, what happens when England doesn't like Hungary for whatever reason? You are the director of the story. Everything that is required to make an empire in the real world, you do it in this virtual world. So it's like the movie Napoleon. I never saw it, but imagine the film Napoleon with Joaquin Phoenix, but you are Napoleon, and now you're expanding your empire. You're creating an empire. Well, now it's not like Red Dead Redemption. Yes, Red Dead Redemption 1 and 2 had amazing graphics, amazing story, excellent voice acting. Some of the Red Dead Redemption 1 and 2 are some of the best games ever invented. Masterpieces. But you are not the director of those stories. And yes, that's correct. 117 Rebel says you have to also maintain the happiness of your citizens. So what do you do to maintain the happiness of your citizens? You build farms for lots of agriculture. You build granaries so there's enough food. You also build churches because people go to church. They're happier when they are participating in Christianity and Christian spirituality. The priest brings the hope and solace. You build a monastery that brings more hope and solace because now people are going to the monastery. They're talking to the monks. They're getting hope. They're being taught morality. So you bring happiness. You maintain happiness. And by maintaining happiness, you maintain order. You also create a town hall where people can voice their problems to the government and the government can take care of them and people are happier. You also create a different buildings that will assist the expansion of your military. You also hire merchants. You train people up in the art of merchandise, and then you expand them. You send them off to different countries. You have them sell wine and timber and all sorts of different materials. Then, pretty soon you start developing cannons, and you can fight your enemies better. So you start expanding your economy, and then as you expand your economy, you expand your military. So you really have to work at it in this game. This game is so damn good. I have never been as addicted to a game like this since I played Banjo-Tooie on the N64. When I played Banjo-Tooie or Super Smash Brothers on the N64. When I played Super Smash Brothers or Banjo-Tooie on the N64 back in the day, I could not stop playing those games. Spent hours on those damn games. Then, GoldenEye on the N64. I played that game for hours when I first got it. What else is there? World is Not Enough on the N64. What else did I get? Metroid Prime. I played that game for hours. I played those games for hours. And then when I got to the Xbox One and those games, I would play them, but I would play them for 30 minutes, an hour tops, and I would turn them off. Why? Because for some reason, it just wasn't clicking. I like them. Trust me, I really like them. But they weren't clicking that well for some reason. And then I got Total War Medieval 2, and I'm like, this is what my brain was looking for. This game is so damn good. So damn good. And it was made in 2006, guys. And I am finally appreciating why people like MMORPGs. I finally got it. I played World of Warcraft last year or earlier this year, and I thought, I don't know, this game, You know, they got like witches and warlocks, and they got giant pyramids over here, and the giant snake creatures over here, and it's you hitting buttons, and it just doesn't look good. And everything is over the top. You got like Aztec pyramids and octopuses flying up. I just don't get World of Warcraft, right? I understand why people like it, because you're kind of world building in a sense. You're building your own guild and all that stuff. So I understand why people like it. It's just not for me. But then I started looking at games like RuneScape, and I started looking at these other older RPGs, MMO RPGs, and then I heard about Total War Medieval 2, and I said, you know what, I'm going to give this a try. I finally come to the appreciation as to why people like these games. I appreciate why people like these games, and I understand why people can't stop playing these damn games. And now I understand, you see, because I would hear these nerds on the internet, and they were saying things like, oh, games aren't as good nowadays. Back in the day, you know, back in 2004, 2005, games were so much better and blah, blah, blah. And here I was thinking, no, they weren't. Because here I am, I'm thinking, because you see, until recently, if you ask me what made a good game, I would say graphics, voice acting, music, and the storyline. That's what makes a great game. So you play Red Dead Redemption, great story. You play Resident Evil, great story, or stories. Far Cry 5, great story. Far Cry New Dawn, great story. Wolfenstein, The Old Blood, great video game. Wolfenstein, the not the one with the two sisters, but the one before that was really good. I think it was Wolfenstein Old Order or New Order, I don't remember, but it was a great game. Metro. The Metro games are amazing. I love Metro. Metro Exodus. Yeah, great game. Yeah, New Colossus. That was a great game. Metro Wolfenstein. But these are great games. But if a game didn't have good graphics, good story, I just wasn't interested in it. And when I heard people say, oh, back in the early 2000s, you know, games were so much better and blah, 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 I just never really understood that. I thought those people were just being, you know, overly critical for the sake of being overly critical. But then I got my hands on this game from 2006, and I said, you know what? I take everything back. What makes a good game is not really good graphics. What makes a good game, truly, truly, at the end of the day, what makes a good game is the ability to make your own world. That is what makes a good game. What makes a good game is you are in this universe, this virtual reality, and you can now make your own world, and you can dictate the story. And the more power you give the player, the more engrossed that player is going to be. So it's not just, okay, here you are in this village, fight the zombies. And then if you go to this direction, you go down to this certain direction, you do this certain thing, you're not going to reach the subsequent chapter of the story, the next chapter of the story. It is, you're in this universe, be the director of the movie. Oh, so I can do it this way and do it that way and do it. Yes, go ahead, do it. Well, if I do this, then I run out of money. Yeah, so you're going to have to manage budget. Okay, I'll have to manage the budget. Okay. And if I don't make the military strong enough, I'm going to get invaded. Yeah, the Sicilians are going to invade your island and exterminate your people. So you better make a strong military. You can have a weak military, and you can focus on agriculture, and you may have a good economy, but if your military is weak, then you're going to get invaded. And everyone is super opportunistic in this game. So if if the Turks aren't invading you, the Greeks are invading you. If the Greeks are not invading you, the Sicilians are invading you. If the Sicilians aren't going to invade you, then the Mongolians are going to invade you. Everything is super capricious in the game. But you are the director in this very unstable, uncertain world. And that level of being the director of the film that's what pulls you in. Being the director of the film. You can lead the story the way you want. And man, I am looking at I'm going to spend a lot of time on this game. I am going to just digest this game. I'm going to enjoy and relish this game slowly. And then when I'm done with it and I've had enough, I'm going to play Total War Rome. And maybe, just maybe, I'll play Total War Warhammer. Just to be a total nerd. And maybe, just maybe, just maybe, I will start getting into other RPG games. Maybe I will get see you later, Guts 166. Maybe I'll play, I want to say RuneScape, but RuneScape looks, it just doesn't look very interesting. But Rome Total War, ooh, it looks really good. And then eventually, when the game gets super cheap, I'll get myself Bannerlord. Is that what it's called? Bannerlord? Pretty certain that's what it's called. This game looks so good. Yeah, Bannerlord. And it's for the Xbox, so I'll get it on the Xbox. The Xbox X, whatever it's called. I'll get it on that console. And that game looks amazing. And that came out last year. I'm thinking, why in the hell did I not hear about Bannerlord? It came out last year. Why wasn't I hearing about it? It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. But this game, man, it's just so good. And when I play Medieval 2, I'm thinking, here I am playing a game in 2006. I'm playing a game that was made in 2006. And here I am. I'm almost in the year 2024. Here I am playing a game in 2006. And it's like I'm back in middle, not middle school. I'm back in high school. It's such a weird, I feel like such a nerd. I feel like such a junkie. And you know what's so crazy is I'll be playing the game and dude, look, this is so pathetic. Look at this. Freaking potato chips near my computer. God help me. I think I'm becoming a junkie, guys. And then I have this fridge. Look what it's full of. Dude, it is full. It has a box full of cheap American beer. What am I becoming, guys? What am I becoming? Theodore Schubert, have you played The Witcher 3? I have not played The Witcher 3. You know, I've heard so much about this game. I watched a little bit of the gameplay. I'm just not sure about The Witcher 3. I'm not sure. The Game Awards just recently happened, and Baldur's Gate just dominated everything. Just like Elden Ring dominated the Game Awards last year. And Baldur's Gate 3, I watched some of this game. I just don't get it. The game looks weird. Some guy having sex with a demon woman. I mean, it's not for me. I like to play games that have reality in them. You know, like Rome. Okay, Rome existed. Venice. You know, I can play Venice and conquer territories. I can play England. I mean, these countries that exist, right? States and countries and societies that exist. Mongolia. I don't want to play some guy and you have a woman who got horns on her head. Am I supposed to be turned on by this? A woman with horns on her head? This is what they have in Baldur's Gate 3. Some guy having sex with a woman who has horns on her head. I was like, am I supposed to be turned on? This is so weird. They have this in a game. The sex itself is not in the game, but it's implied. But still, it's just how in the hell did this game make it to number 1 in the world? I don't get it. But what's weird is that you have companies that are investing a lot of money, tons of money, in making these games that have really, really good graphics, right? These are games that look like they have really good graphics. Visually, they look okay. And people hate them. There was a game that came out called Starfield. And I remember seeing the gameplay for Starfield some months ago. And it looked really good. And now everyone says it sucks. And a lot of money, millions of dollars, were poured into this game. And it didn't make a single award. And here I am playing a game made in 2006, and I'm thinking this game is a masterpiece. I finally understand what people mean, what these nerds online have been saying for years when they say that games are not as good as they used to be. Because when I would hear that, I would think, what are you talking about? We have games coming out today with great graphics. Modern Warfare and RE4 remake and Red Dead Redemption, like Red Dead Redemption 2, and all these games have come out. They have great graphics. Why are these people complaining? And then now I'm playing an RPG from '06, and I'm thinking, oh, this is what they meant. This is what they meant, guys. Have you ever seen the trailer for GTA 6? No, I have not. I have no interest in any of the GTA games. I don't like those games. GTA, to me, has always been like a murder simulator. It's a very bizarre thing to play. There's nothing interesting about GTA. I don't like the idea of being a criminal in a video game. I don't like the idea of being like a gangster. It doesn't interest me at all. The old COD is so much better than the new. Have you seen the trailer? Okay, I already saw that. Baldur's Gate, isn't that the game where yeah, Grizzly Bear. Yeah. I don't get it.